Well, I mean, what it meant to us really was that, for a coach to be in one place for a long time, for that many years, for 9 seasons, I mean, that basically speaks to having roots. I mean, coaches are typically on the move 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line. So to be in one spot for a while, that was pretty cool. It meant a lot. We developed some very good friends and relationships, people we still stay in touch with today. The community involvement that we had, that was a big deal for us. And, it's kind of a neat thing because, you really get to see another side of the city. And that's really the thing that I really appreciate is just, how good a city it is. The people in the city were terrific. So it was really a neat thing for us.
And just in general, you talked about you and Stephanie and your family's impact on the Charlotte community, but how did they impact you all over the course of their time there? How do you still feel them, or how do you still, just in terms of keeping in contact with people, how did they impact you all?
Well, one of the examples is when our house burned down, the outpouring support we got from the community was tremendous. It really, truly was, when I got sick last year, the messages and notes and the things we got from the people of Charlotte, or I should say, the Panther fans, was terrific. It really was tremendous, and we'll be forever grateful for that. And then when you get involved in the community, and then you do something, you have a charitable event, and people turn out in large numbers to help support that. You feel good that hey, we were able to reach folks and get them involved in the community as well. So that I kind of felt was a little bit of give and take, which I thought was really cool.
You gave Taylor his first NFL start in Carolina a few years ago. How much better of a quarterback is he now than even back then?
I think he's playing with a lot more confidence. I think his decision making is getting better, obviously, and I think with him it's just a matter of getting reps and opportunities. I think he has improved a lot, and we're seeing it. Hopefully we'll get some of the playmakers back on the field. We'll get our tight ends healthy again. We get a couple more receivers back out there and really be able to see what we can do. We're starting to get the offensive line healthy again, even though the guys that replaced the guys that were hurt still played well. We're starting to get those guys back on the field as well.
Teammates seem to like about Taylor is kind of the swagger he plays with. After a game like Sunday, are you looking to see kind of the healthy part of that swagger in Taylor's game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's great. I really do. But I think also, the thing that helps him is that his teammates feel that, and it's funny because when you talk to the guys about him, one of the things they always say is like, God, when, we get the ball in certain situations, we feel like we have a chance. And that's all part of it, is that when your teammates have confidence that you can get something done, that really helps.
Ron, I know you don't want to make this game about you, but you are a storyline, a big connection to this game in Charlotte. What do you think your emotions are going to be like going to that visiting locker room, being on the visiting sideline?
Well, I know as far as playing against them, it won't be the same effect, but to be back in Charlotte, that'll be probably the bigger thing, more than anything else for me. It's just because, again, as I said, the thing that I really appreciate about my time more so there than anything else were the people, and that's probably the bigger thing. Now, what I'm doing is I'm limiting, my exposure to that. Stephanie will do all the visiting and saying hello to folks. I'm pretty much going to try and stick to the mantra, this is a business trip.
From a professional aspect, effectively, Carolina told you they didn't want you anymore. Is there any bitterness there, Ron? No, there's no reason to be bitter. I did the best I could, and when it was time to move on, David Tepper treated me with tremendous dignity and respect. He really did. He gave me an opportunity to say goodbye, and I really appreciated that. And which really kind of cool, kind of speaks to who he is. When we played him here, he did a Rivera strong as well. So I got a tremendous amount of respect for what he's doing there right now, what they're trying to do in terms of their rebuild as well. But there is no bitterness. I mean, if there is anything, it's just miss the folks and the friends we had in Charlotte.
You and Cam had a really long run together. Obviously, when you look back, are there memories or rituals or things you guys had that you look back on fondly?
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of really cool moments. Everything from him being our first draft pick, and the work that we put in to make him our first draft pick. One of the things that I really think was really cool was that last week of draft preparation. I flew to to Atlanta to visit him and his family, and we spent time together. I got an opportunity to see him interact with his folks, with his brothers, and when you see that and you see how genuine it is, you know he's a good person, and that's the thing that I really respected, was just the type of young man he is, but really got the chance to see his family life, his home life. And that's something I always think, I always remember. And then there were some other things, that went on from every time from the time when he was in the car accident, during the season, to the only time that I don't want to say I benched him, but the only time that I did was when I got him to finally admit that his foot really was hurt. And then we put him on IR my last year. That was tough because he's a competitor. He didn't want to quit, but we told him, you have to because you're hurt. And I always remember that. Just thing I always remember too is he hated to lose more than anybody I've ever been around. After the 2015 Super Bowl, you don't realize, that they called him a sore loser. Well, he is, because he wants to win. I mean, that's who he is, and I try to deflect that just so people understand. The dude's going to give you everything he has, which he did, and unfortunately, we didn't win it.
You had opportunities to bring him here, and you've explained your reasoning why you didn't. But I'm just wondering, is there something different about adding like that position or a guy of his caliber versus the other Carolina guys you brought in?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me looking at it was it's really trying to go in a different direction more than anything else. That's, to me, what it's really all about. If it was possible to emulate everything that we did there, I would have. But I just felt that this was an opportunity for us, that we were going completely different. This was going to be a young team, a bunch of young players, which is what we're trying to do. And and if you look at, and they're a good example of a team that got young very fast, along the lines of what we're trying to do, and build it up that way. Because to me, if you build it through the draft, you put the right people in place, you can have that type of sustainability. I mean, we had a nice run up to 2017, and then the quarterback injuries caught up with us in 18 and 19, more so than anything else. If you really look at that, in both instances, we had 6 wins when we had to change out, and sometimes you just can't overcome the injuries.
And then you mentioned Carolina's rebuild. I'm just kind of wondering what you've made of it from afar.
Well, got a chance to watch them on tape a lot, like I did last year, and then watching them now, and you see that they've done some really good things. You look at the secondary, and it's with the exception of Dante Jackson, it's a completely different group. The linebackers I'm still very familiar with, obviously. Really, the only one is the rush in and Brian. Offensive line's completely newly remade. Ian Thomas, the tight end, is a young man we had. Silstra is a wide receiver we had. Christian, obviously, is another one of my favorites, and just a tremendous football player. But they've done a nice job. They really have, and kudos to them, because again, this is about bringing in and rebuilding and saying these are the guys for our future. That's what it looks like to me.
Do you think a quarterback needs to hate to lose as much as being branded maybe a sore loser to get to the level that Cam was at?
I think they all do. I really do. What was really cool was when we went through the 2015 loss, Archie Manning reached out to me and said, hey, your guy's no different than my guy, when Peyton lost his. And that was really cool that Archie did that. And it really, kind of reiterated that, like you just said, the really good ones, they all hate to lose.
I know you're trying to make this a business trip. Is there any place or people that you will see, or any exceptions to that rule when you go back to Charlotte?
Not really. Not really. Like I said, Stephanie will do all the visiting for us and tell everybody, that I send my best. But, I'm just trying to make sure that, the players understand that, this, no matter how we look at it, is a business trip.
How much did that Super Bowl loss affect you and Cam in future years?
Well, I mean, it's something that still sticks with you because obviously you do everything you can to get there, and then unfortunately you don't have the success. And, I always think about the things that I could have done differently. Would I have done differently? What would I have done differently? And I got a nice little notepad of that stuff. So it's something that does drive me. It does motivate me. It's one of the things that wanted me to get right back into coaching. because I love the challenge of it. And it's not necessarily about me winning it as much as about us winning it. I had my Super Bowl where I've been part of a winner. I'd love to see the people that I work with get an opportunity to be part of a winner too as well. And because that's the peak, it's the pinnacle of what we do, and it's why we do it.
Non-Panthers question for you. James Smith-Williams, younger guy getting a bigger role. He's also done a ton of work off the field and raising awareness for domestic violence. Just what did you see from him before you guys drafted him, just in terms of his character and how he handles himself off the field?
Well, character is big for us, obviously, and just knowing who he is as a young man is important. But when you watch him as a football player and you see the talent and the ability, you just know that this guy was worthy of being drafted, and now he's got an opportunity to show us that he can step into the next level. That'll be fun to watch. You know, him and Casey are two young men, you know, drafted pretty much in the same year. Are guys that, you know, we kept for a reason because we think that there's some ability there that they can help us get to where we want to be. And again, as I was saying, if you can build through young guys like that, that's what you want to be able to do.
Yeah, it just took Monday to really enjoy it. Had family in town and went down to the city and just, you know, really enjoyed it. But, you know, once yesterday came, Tuesday, it was time to move on. And so we have a really good opponent this weekend. Carolina, they have a really good defense, so it'll be another good challenge for us.
How do you carry that momentum into this week?
Yeah, you know, coming off that game, it's a big confidence booster. And guys, we when you win a game like that against a defense like that, it makes you believe that you can do that against anybody. And it's good for us. You know, we were going through a 4-game skid there where, you know, we were losing, and to get a game like that and win, you know, we have a lot of confidence going into this one. So, you know, we feel good about it.
Are there things that happen in the building or on the practice field after a win like that where you notice the effects tangibly?
Yeah. You know, people have a little more pep in their step when you're winning, and people are happier, obviously, and it's, you know, you're not as sore. You know, when you have a hard loss and, you know, you're getting banged up, those next 2 days are hurting a little bit. But when you win, it doesn't hurt as much. So, yeah, it all compounds pretty well.
Why do you and DeAndre seem to be in such a good rhythm right now? What is it about that's clicking?
I just think he's a really good ball player. He knows what to do. He's a professional. And I had a lot of reps with him during OTAs and training camp as well. So, you know, we've had a good connection, you know, throughout the summer and the off season. So, again, he just continues to get better, and he knows what he's doing out there, and he's a good ball player.
When you were in Carolina, what did you notice between Ron Rivera and handling or his relationship with Cam Newton?
Yeah, I don't want to speak too much about it, but you know, they were together for a long time, and they had a really good relationship. So, you know, Ron's the same guy that I knew him from in Carolina. Haven't really been around Cam too much lately, but you know, they had a good relationship while I was there.
What made it a good relationship?
Well, I think something has to do with, you know, him winning MVP and going 15-1 and almost winning the Super Bowl. I'm sure that had something to do with it. Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
Does it motivate you to, you mentioned the God of Charlotte thing with Cam, and you've played against Tom. Does playing, I know you're not facing the quarterback directly, but does facing quarterbacks like a Cam or a Tom Brady, does that do something for you motivation-wise?
Maybe. I mean, possibly, but again, like you said, I'm not going against those guys personally. But it is fun, you know. Again, like I've said this before. Sometimes I think back to when I was a kid, and whether it's playing Madden or, you know, if my Packers were playing, you know, Superman Cam that weekend, how I would feel about, you know, wanting my team to go beat them. So I kind of put myself in that situation, trying to make it like a little story or when I was a kid, and it gives me a lot of energy.
How do you kind of balance for yourself, you know, you feel good after a win about your performance, having kind of that healthy swagger that you have, that the teammates seem to like, and not getting overconfident? Like, how do you balance that going into a game like this?
I think it's just to continue to be yourself, and that's with everybody. I feel like I play my best when I can just be myself and be passionate, emotional, and I think some of the guys feed off of that. So, again, we have to take it one game at a time. Just because we beat Tampa doesn't mean we're going to beat Carolina, and everyone knows that. So I think, just like I said, just continue to be yourself.
Hey, Taylor, you were obviously in Carolina with Ron. How much did he mean to that city, and were you surprised maybe some of the reaction after he was let go?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into that question too much because again, I was only there for a year.
But could you tell how much he meant to the area?
Yeah. A lot of people looked up to him, and I know he was a big, public figure in that area too. So, when he left, I'm sure it was hard for him and a lot of people around that area. So I know it's an exciting time for him to go back down there.
There's also so many people here from Carolina. Do you think this game, I know you guys want to win because you want to win 2 in a row, regardless of whoever you're playing, but does it mean a little bit something more because so many people are from Carolina up here?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But, yeah, we have a bunch of coaches from Carolina, players, and even one of our GMs is from there. So, yeah, I'm sure there's a little something to it.
Take a couple more.
Taylor, a year ago at this time was when you were out, right? At that time, were you watching the NFL or did you hate the NFL because you were not in it? Were you sitting down on Sunday and watching 1-4 instead 8 game?
Both. Yeah, but I was watching it. I have a lot of friends and people I've become close to throughout the years that I've been rooting for. So I would stay in touch and watch those games. But yeah, it's a little bittersweet. Just feeling like I just want one more chance in there. And there's a lot of guys out there on the fringe that feel the same exact way. I was just fortunate enough to get the second chance.
So Rivera coached there 9 years. Heinicke was there on and off 20 years. All of these things. You were there 8 years. Does this game mean more to you?
Then to them?
No, just for you. Ignoring all that, what does this game mean to you to face the Panthers?
Not much. I just kind of view them as another team on the schedule. Again, there's a little something there that you want to kind of go back and win where you used to be. And I think everyone feels that way. I wouldn't say it's anything extra. Yeah, it'll be fun. Me and him had a great relationship. He was a lot of fun to be around. And again, that place is going to be rocking on Sunday. He again, like I said before, he's like the god of Charlotte. Everyone loves him up there, and so it'll be his first home game there. It's going to be loud, and it'll be an exciting game.
We think of you as an energetic guy. He seems like 10 notches above whatever that is.
Yeah, he's very animated and likes to have fun out there. So yeah, it'll be cool.
Last one.
For you, last week, no turnovers. The game in Atlanta, no turnovers, and there's some games in between where you do have interceptions. It's probably easy to say just I'm not forcing as much, but what is the difference between the games where you have a clean sheet versus the ones where you have some issues with protecting the ball?
Yeah, we talked about this before. It's playing like myself and not trying to be too perfect, letting things happen naturally, and I think that's what's happened. That's what happened on Sunday. Kind of just go out there and play my game, and kind of let it rip, but also be smart about it. There's a very fine line there, and again, every week I feel like I'm progressing towards that and feel more comfortable. So, hopefully I can just keep that thing going.
It's just we got to build up chemistry, rushing together, talking together through the season. So it's just building that chemistry up and learning how to rush with the younger guys and just getting them on the same page that we was on.
John's obviously had a big number with the sacks this year. Have you seen anything different in his play compared to past years?
No, I feel like he's just he still rushes the same, but he's just getting it. He's making do with the chances that he's getting, and he's finishing well.
Daron, obviously the defensive effort has been some signs of progress, and then what you guys did against Tampa Bay. What did you see that was the biggest jump for where you guys were earlier in the year to what you guys did on Sunday?
Like I've been telling everybody, I feel like just our preparation leading up to the game was very, very good, and it showed on the field, and we just took everything we did in that weekend, and it showed on the field, like I said.
What are your thoughts about facing Cam Newton now that he's back in the league and will probably be leading Carolina on Sunday?
I'm excited to go out there on Sunday. I know this is a big game for Coach, and I just want to go out there and ball, get some more dubs in the category.
When Ron has a game like this, big ties to Carolina, do you feel like everyone around kind of wants to get it a little more for him than maybe if it was a different opponent?
I feel like right now we just want some dubs, man.
You're a guy that gets pretty dressed up on game days. How do you compare your fashion to Cam's?
I feel like he got it. I'll get to him.
You have something special for Sunday?
I might just pull out a little suit, something regular.
John Allen seems to be tearing it up this year. What's behind his great season?
I know he works hard, he practices hard, he rushes hard, and he got a relentless mindset. And like I said, he's been finishing his opportunities.
Is there anything, he had the contract happen this offseason, obviously. Did you sense anything after that where, like, he's kind of free to just go play football?
He's really been the same him. Like, he's always like a high effort guy, high motor. He's just been doing his thing.
I wanted to ask you about Boone Rotimi, who's one of the new guys, has bounced around. He was in like the XFL, the AFL, all sorts of not NFL FLs. When you see a guy like that, what's it like for somebody who, has been getting after it for 4 years and finally gets their shot here?
I'm really excited for him. I see him get the rush all the time in practice, and now he's got an opportunity with a bunch of guys down. I'm excited for those guys.
We were talking about coordinating the rush earlier this year, and I know you were asked about it a little bit earlier, but when you have 2 new edge rushers now, what is the timeline or what's the process like to kind of get back on the same page with those guys?
Just like how we prepare during the week in practice, just talking to each other and just working together with each other, like blending in together.
And how do you adapt to their different skill sets from Chase and Montez?
Just practice, really. That's the only way. And just like after practice, watching film with them, talking to them, and just working out the kinks.
Hey, Terry.
Hello.
Last week you were talking about maintaining a balance between work and also finding time for yourself.
Right.
I was wondering, how do you know you've hit that balance where, okay, I've done everything I can do today, and now I can take some time to myself?
I think you kind of have a piece about you that, at least myself, where you feel like you put in a good work day and it's time to kind of unwind and go tend to some other things that you have going on in your life. Obviously, you're always constantly thinking about how you can improve and, how can you prepare yourself to be ready for those moments on Sunday. But it's also important, like I said, to keep that balance in having other things in your life that not only challenge you but give you gratification and give you joy, because it allows you to appreciate not only those things but what you get to do on a daily basis here.
Has that been a difficult balance to find for you, and how has that changed over maybe your first 3 years in the league?
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better as time has gone on, because when I come here and I play on Sundays, you want everything to go right. I wouldn't say I'm a control freak at all, but I'm a guy who really prepares really hard for certain outcomes and scenarios to happen, per se. So when those don't necessarily go according to plan, kind of when I was younger, and especially my first few years, you just kind of throw you off. Like, you're like, man, that didn't work out. But I think what allows me to grow and get better is controlling what I can control, staying in my process, knowing what I need to do on each and every day, each and every rep of practice, and being ready in the game. And then having those moments where you just don't really think about football and enjoying your family and your friends and the things that allow you to, kind of just reset and compose yourself. So I'm thankful to have, a great work environment. I'm great to have, family that keeps me balanced, and friends and other interests that's outside of football. But at the end of the day, it's always, for myself, it's always those plays that you don't necessarily make that kind of keep you up at night. But at the same time, when you put in all the time and the effort that you can, it's not always going to work out. You just got to be able to adjust and move on. Mm-hmm.
You take a ton of big hits in like every game.
Yeah.
You have an abnormally high pain threshold. What do you do during the weeks
Yeah.
to kind of regroup and
Yeah.
get your body in shape?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's actually developed over my last few years. I've always taken strength and conditioning very seriously back from Ohio State with Coach Mick in the weight room, and then now with Coach Chad and the guys in there. They do a good job of really having us prepared. And, my first year, I play about 208, 205, between 205 and 208. And, coming into the NFL, I play significantly more than I did in college. So over the course of the season, your body kind of starts to get broken down physically. You get worn down a little mentally. And kind of what I alluded to earlier in the season when I spoke to you guys is just how much effort and time I try to put into how do I maintain and get better throughout the season. I don't have those drop-offs where I'm still kind of not only maintaining my strength, speed, and in the production, but kind of getting better as the season goes on. And I'm proud of where I am right now. I truly am. How I'm able to go in there and lift like I am and then come out and practice after a physical day like that that I had on Sunday, not just playing 70-plus plays, but taking the hits that I did. And I think it's just the deposit that I slowly put into my body day in, day out, lifting hard in the weight room during the season so you're maintaining and still gaining muscle. And, I pray before every game just to have health and strength, wins, losses, production, things like that. Those are bonuses to me. But as long as I come out the game healthy, I think that's a blessing in and of itself, especially the game that we play. So, I know it's going to be physical, but at the same time, I'm never afraid to go over the middle and put my nose in there, catching the ball, blocking, and things like that. Because being a leader and the type of player that I am, I feel like that's extremely important, and that's very infectious to the other guys around you.
Have there been things, be it tips or methods that you've picked up from other veterans on how to kind of maintain your health during the weeks?
My health?
Yeah, just in
yeah. I think I got to learn from one of the best, probably still in the league, is Ryan Kerrigan. When I first got here, I thought I really did a good job of taking care of my body and doing the necessary things to be prepared for every practice and games. I think what's different in the NFL than college is, you're going to play more plays. The season's longer. And, there's not as many substitutions, and you got to be ready for those practice reps during the week too. So I think the physicality of the game, the speed of the game is different, but being able to recover is even more important in college than it is in the NFL, I feel like, when it comes to adjusting to the next level. So I got to really learn from Ryan and to see the diligency that he took in taking care of his body and adding some things in my routine that I think that could help me going forward in my career. So it's cool to see guys, especially at an early part of your career, that really take that stuff seriously, and you're able to kind of learn and grow in that part of your career as well.
You've had some long catches, long touchdowns, and all that.
Right.
Do you almost take a little more pride in the catch you made at the end of the game the other day because of circumstance, because of the hit?
Of course. I think that was probably one of my favorite plays since I've been in the NFL, when you consider the circumstances of the game. To be trusted in that situation, it's going to be man-to-man. You have to win. The ball's coming your way. They probably had a chance to think that the ball was coming my way, and you make the play and you take a hit like that. And you don't let them see you down. You get up and, you hype the crowd up. That was a fun moment for myself and my teammates, and, to come over and get the pats on the back, and not more so that you made the play, but just what that meant to everybody to see you do that. You know what I mean? And to take that hit, have no fear, and going over the middle and taking one for the team, I felt like. And, it's easy to kind of see, I made the catch and take the hit, but, just the way the O-line held up in that play, they were facing a ton of pressure. Taylor put it in front of me. If Jamel Dean's a long corner, and I knew that. And those are tough routes to win against longer corners because they have a good chance of getting their hands in there on the point of attack. But once I saw that ball was out in front of me, I had the utmost confidence to go reach out for my hands and knew you were going to take a hit. So those are the type of plays you have to try to make to win games. And if you want to be a top receiver in the league, you got to be able to make those plays time in and time out. And, I'm not perfect, and I'm continually getting better, but that's definitely something that I could put in my toolbox to say that's something I could build on and continue to grow in my career.
When you guys have a win like that, and the way the confidence you guys play with,
right?
How much does that, do you look back to situations like last year
right.
and say this is how it started to go and how you got on the roll.
Right, yeah, we mentioned that. Obviously last year with the Steelers, they were a very strong defense and an undefeated team at the time. They had a lot of momentum. We were playing on the road, and, we were able to win that game and go on a roll. And, similar with this team, they were Super Bowl teams, tough defense, great offense on the opposite side. And that was a grind-out game. And, I think it's easy to say this is the game that's going to be the turning point, but I don't think it is unless we continue to build off what we did successfully last week, which I think we protected the ball well on offense. We set the line of scrimmage on the offensive line. The defense created turnovers. We won the position battle, and we converted on third downs and scored in the red zone. I know that's a lot, but when you have those particular ingredients and you put them together and you have a winning formula, and it's hard to get that all in sync each and every week, but we know what it looks like against a very capable team that we played. So it's a challenge to ourselves to look at the film and see what we can do better, but also build on that and see what we can do going forward into Carolina, who's a good football team and very strong defensively, to see can we pull it out on the road and keep this going. So I think it just starts with the week of practice that we're having right now. I think we had another good day, and it's just building on that tomorrow and being able to execute come Sunday.
Terry, I'm sure Ron would be opposed to anybody focusing on this game from the perspective of him going back to Carolina. It's about a team. You guys need to win this game to keep going here. On the other hand, it's also pretty hard to ignore what this must mean for him. What's your sense of that, how important this is a game for him and what it means for you guys to possibly get the win for him?
Yeah, I think one thing I've always respected about Coach Rivera, he never takes opportunities to make it about himself, and he always makes it about us and how he can help us be in the best situations to be successful on Sundays. And I think that's the same approach that we're taking this week. Obviously, we know a lot of things that are going on with the history that this coaching staff has and Coach Rivera with Carolina and some of our former players that played there. And, they're human, so they're going to have those emotions. I wouldn't expect anything less, but I think it's about the team who could compartmentalize those emotions, can prepare the best and be ready to execute on Sundays and be ready to play 4 quarters. I think they're a very strong team defensively and offensively. Obviously, coming into this game, the energy is going to be crazy with Cam coming back, but you got to be able to hone in on what your job is and to be ready for when that foot hits the ball come Sunday, because if you're too worried about all the external things, then you're not worried about what's important, which are the internal things. So I think we have a good grasp on what's expected of us this week, and we're just trying to put our best foot forward for the game.
You mentioned some of your teammates used to play there.
Yeah.
It's an insane amount of people in the building where they are all different facets. Is it kind of wild to realize just how many people, it's like around 30 or so, how many people were from that time?
Yeah, I've been teasing some of the guys. I say it's the reunion week, but I think football, what you see guys come from place to place and things like that, but I think one thing that I noticed about the guys that came from Carolina that are here now is they're just guys that really put their head down and they grind, and it really meshed with some of the guys that we already had here that were left over from the staff previously, and those guys come over here and grind, and they want to put their best foot forward to help us as a team win. And it's not Carolina or Washington, it's the Washington football team now. So it's cool to have those guys obviously on our side now, and I know they're looking forward to playing back in that stadium, but we're just trying to control what we can.
Is there any worry, concern that beating a team like the Bucs, you want it to be a turning point, but they're also Super Bowl champs? Is there worry that we want to make sure this isn't our peak, or what kind of things can you do to ensure we didn't just get up for that game because it was Tom Brady and the team we wanted to beat from the playoffs last year? We can still do it for Carolina and Seattle and teams like that as well.
Of course. I think it's not letting that be your peak, like you said. I think it's about building on the things that we did well last week, creating turnovers defensively, just core things that offensively, converting on third downs and scoring when you need to in the red zone. We weren't perfect there, and we want to score every time you're in the red zone touchdowns, but to be able to sustain a drive like we did to win the game with the ball in our hands, that's winning formula. And I think those are little things that you can do to kind of ensure that you give your best chance, your team the best chance to win week in and week out. When you take care of the football, you win the position battles and you create turnovers. I think those three things specifically are things that we have to do, continue to go forward if we want to have success, especially against these good teams, good quarterbacks, and solid defenses that we're playing coming up. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge that we have as a group. I think, the benefit of playing a team like Tampa Bay is, it's a nice measuring stick. You see what you're capable of if you put in the time throughout the week, if you execute on Sundays, if you play 4 quarters, you have a chance to win the game, and that's what it's all about.
Curtis is one of those Carolina guys, but with the way his injury's trending and maybe not be able to play with you guys on Sunday, what's it been like for him? How much of contact have you had with him and just trying to keep him focused as he's still working back from this groin injury?
Yeah, I mean, our lockers are sit right next to each other. That's my guy. So, I've just been trying to encourage him to continue to, just focus on his rehab and doing whatever he needs to do to get back as fast as he can. But I think he knows that. I know it's tough for him because, he was out, then he's in, then he's out. And that's tough to get a rhythm. It's tough missing a playmaker like that in our offense. But at the same time, I think he's just doing a good job of trying to be diligent and getting back as fast as he can and controlling what he can. I know he just wants to be out here and help us win games and make plays. So I feel like he's going to get the chance to do that at some point. When, I don't know. But, I know he's a guy who has a lot of ability. He just hasn't got the chance to show it. But, we've had some great guys be able to step up in his absence. Who knows if people around, our fan base know who DeAndre Carter is if guys don't necessarily go down. Not that you want to see guys go down, but just the opportunity that it puts forward for other guys like that to be able to step up and show what they can do. So I think those guys are going to continue to step up as long as he's gone, and when he's ready to come back, I know he's going to be ready to give us all he got.
Terry, if I may follow up on Sam's question about mental health, we've seen a lot of athletes starting to talk about it more. I think Giannis just did an interview with GQ where he talked about having a mental therapist.
Right.
I think Lane Johnson with the Eagles, he talked about depression and took himself out of a game.
Right.
Why do you feel like athletes are talking about mental health more? Between you, I think Casey Tuhill last week, Joey, all of you guys talked about it. Why is it becoming more prevalent for you all to talk about it?
I think it's extremely important. I think the position, the sport that we play, I think it's often just thought of that we're just physical specimens who just go and run into each other on Sundays, and that's what we do. And you don't really have those mental struggles as much as you may have the physical. And physical is something that you can see on the outside. I got a bum leg, a hurt ankle, or things like that. But mentally, it's challenging to play this sport. It really is. And not just this sport, but the balanced life. I mean, you think about a lot of these guys are guys who have worked their whole life to get to this opportunity, and they're the one in their family, like not just the expectations that they have in this building, but to carry their legacy on in their family, to be that one who made it through college, who made this type of money to set their family and their children up for life. That's a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of people on the outside can't quite appreciate the pressure that we're on, but at the same time, I don't think guys take that as, feel sorry for me. You know what I mean? Because we chose this profession and we know what come with it, but at the same time we have a platform to be able to bring awareness to certain things, and mental health is really one thing that in football a lot of people didn't necessarily, I guess, feel like it was as important because you're supposed to be this big macho football guy, but you have disappointments, you have hurts, you have things that don't go your way, and it takes a toll on you mentally. And I think the clearer you are mentally and the more confident you are where your piece is, I think it permeates throughout the rest of your life and on the football field. So I've been somebody who's really just focused on more having that balance, because I could be so football focused and football crazy that a lot of other things in your life kind of get out of whack. And that's, for me, something that I've constantly worked on, and having those people around me have really helped, really keep me balanced and being my best self in my personal life and out on the football field. And, I'm always quick to tell people football is what I do, it's not who I am. And I think if guys could really continue to focus on, being who they are and being true to that, then the rest takes care of itself, because this is what we do. It's not who we are. So I think it's tremendous that guys are speaking out and putting an emphasis even more so on mental health and the importance of it for everyone, not just football players.
Calvin Ridley took the hiatus because he was having some challenges.
Who'd you say?
Calvin Ridley with
Oh,
the
yeah.
Falcons.
Yeah.
He took a step back and he,
Yeah.
came out and apologized for his
Yeah.
new absence. Like I said, Lane Johnson was another person for you. What was it that made you decide I need to kind of include this, like include the mental health, the emotional well-being, and then I guess where do you hope it goes? You talked about having the extra bye week, but
Right.
ultimately when you talk about mental well-being, what do you want to ultimately see come from these conversations that athletes are now having openly?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just think the conversation is just something that's been different from the past. Guys in these positions being able to speak up about how their challenges have been off the field and mentally, it gives other people an insight of, kind of allows them to have more empathy of what guys in this position go through, but at the same time, it also allows them, people on the outside looking in, to see that we're just like them. We're people with, ups, downs, good and bad. And I think that's extremely important because it allows us to all be more human and be more empathetic to one another. And, going forward, I just hope that, there's still those resources that we can have to be able to seek out the help that we need. But also, I think what's been important for myself is to be able to acknowledge it and take the ownership in my own life to be able to seek out the things that I need mentally as the same things I do physically. So, the same energy and effort that I put into having my body prepared physically throughout the week is the same type of energy and focus I want to have mentally. And I think a lot of guys are really taken to that throughout the league, and, you're especially speaking on Calvin Ridley, you just see this type of player and the person that he is and how much he loves the game, and to see him going through a tough time, that's hard to see. I don't know him personally, but that's hard to see anybody going through that tough time. So, I just wish him the best and everybody else struggling with those things, because that stuff is real. And, but days do get better, and you have the opportunity to, wake up and have the breath in your lungs is another opportunity to live this life. So I think it's cool to see what even the NFL is doing and trying to make more resources available for us, and I'm looking forward to see how it continually grows.